Hello everyone, and welcome to a bit of a, well, this is actually, it's not even a bit of a rant video. It's a rant video because, I haven't really been uploading, and, it's been a really stressful week because me and a few friends in the Simmer community were being trolled, and it was really bugging us. We couldn't figure out who it was. They targeted all three of us. It was a bit weird, it was a bit sus, and we, decided, I made a group chat on Twitter and decided, we need to put the pieces together and try and figure out who this is. Now, it wasn't, we weren't intentionally looking for this person at the beginning. We were just discussing it, and then he was going through our videos and liking them, all three of us, which I thought was a bit weird, and then making comments about dislikes, which he knew annoyed me. And then he later left a comment saying that, it wasn't me disliking them, or I never did, which would make sense considering he was going through and liking them on Twitter, perhaps to cover up what he was just about to do. Official LittleMrsSimmer, one of the people who was being trolled by this person, told us something that we did not know, and it turned out to be quite vital in us figuring out who it was. So me, LittleMissSimmer, Sour Patch Simmer and Official LittleMrsSimmer all began being trolled. Now, I don't know if anyone was trolled before us, but we were the first to kind of tweet about it and make people aware of it. So yeah, that happened on Twitter, and then we started figuring out that they must have been following us because they were responding to our tweets in the comment section. So we thought, okay, they're following all of us, or they keep checking our Twitters or something. So they're on Twitter, and they kept leaving comments telling me to follow them on Twitter, and I thought, who is this? Why you they wouldn't respond to us on Twitter, but they would on YouTube, because they were all secondary accounts. So someone from their main account kept making loads of secondary accounts, and they could hide in the comment section and know that nobody could trace them. So they felt safe there, clearly. So yeah, that was another thing. And then it got to a point where they got a bit bored of us and started moving on to other Simmers in the community, and this I thought was quite dangerous, as they were, not to sound patronising, but I think they were much younger than us, and I think it's disgusting to troll young people because younger people, are not as mature, so they're probably more likely to take it to heart and be more affected by it. Especially, imagine if someone was suicidal and then they get these kinds of messages, it could just turn someone on the edge. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't anonymously go around criticising people when you know nothing about them. But in this case, this person knew everything about us because it turned out to be our friend, and not just a friend, someone we told personal things about ourselves, someone who knew us as a person, and I didn't want to believe it was this person, and I could not believe it was this person. He is probably going to make out that we're targeting him, we're framing him, we have no evidence, we have no proof, we just suspect him. But this is more than a coincidence. This kind of thing is not purely coincidental. Everything points to him, and he is making it, in trying to prove his innocence, he's actually dropping himself in it even more, and he has done so. It started off only being 10 pieces of evidence to suggest that it's him, but now it's about 14. That, ever since he figured out that it was him, that we thought it was. So this person is LittleMrsSimmer, or Galaxy, or this is Galaxy, however you want to call him. You may know him by the name Jacob Ridge, you may know him by the name Saint Plays, and you may know him by the name Galaxy. This is because this person is a liar. All he does is lie, and all he seems to have done the entire time I've known him is lie. I have found out more about this person since not being friends with him than I did when I was friends with him. The amount of people who have come forward to tell me stories about what he has done to people since not being friends with him is actually disgusting, and I cannot believe I trusted this person and became close friends with this person. I feel so betrayed and disgusted. This is no personal vendetta. This is not bullying. This is simply making people aware of someone who, quite frankly, is the biggest fraud I've ever met in my life, right? You just don't lie to people and expect people not to find out. So basically the whole deal with that is a year ago, he was Saint Plays, and he was Galaxy, so he had 2 YouTube channels, and I noticed at one point that they had the same voice on the same videos, but then he deleted the Saint Plays one and just stayed as Galaxy. And around the time that happened, he did something to official LittleMrsSimmer that we didn't find out until this started happening. So basically, she made a makeover of Delegracy's twins from her twins Let's Play using custom content. She really liked it, and she acknowledged it, and she gave her a shout out on Twitter, gave her a little shout out in a video. And you know, he tried to do the same thing. He obviously thought he really liked Delegracy. You know, he's always going on about her videos, he always watched her builds, he loved her, and so he thought, oh, I'll do the same thing and I might get a shout out as well. And he didn't. And you know, he told her that he was jealous of this, and the reason that he did this to her was because he had a mental problem that made him really jealous or something. He changed his name to Adam McSmith and started trolling all over her videos, leaving her disgusting comments, and then messaged her to tell her that someone was doing this, which made it completely utterly obvious it was him. But he didn't admit that it was him until months after, and she told no one about this, and I don't know why she kept this to herself, because if this was me, I would have outed him there and then, screenshotted his admission and, you know, stopped it there. But I totally understand, you know, you don't want to do that to someone, but you know, she was totally alone about this, and I don't know how she dealt with this all this time on her own, and I'm so glad she told us, because we had no clue about this. I have been close friends with this guy since like the summer, since like May. We all started a group chat, you know, we were Skyping, doing loads of collabs, having a lot of fun, and he was lying and keeping all of these bad things he'd done from us, and that was when, a couple of months after being friends with him, thinking that his name was Jacob, he let us call him Jacob on Skype and everything. I legit thought his name was Jacob. He made a new channel called LittleMrsSimmer, and he said that his name was Jacob Ridge. And then a couple of months after, he was like, I need to tell you something. It was just me and him on Skype. He was like, oh, my name's not Jacob, my name's Saint. And then that's when I clocked on that he used to be Saint Plays, and that's why I recognised his voice. And then, you know, he told the whole group, and we were fine with it because we thought, oh, okay, he told us that his mum made him, because to protect himself on the internet, change his name or something. And I was just like, okay, totally believed it. But I totally reckon it was because of the whole thing that happened with official LittleMrsSimmer, and he was trying to cover it up. So yeah, that happened. She told us, we were totally shocked, totally didn't want to believe that he could do something like that. But of course, her telling us that put him straight on the #1 suspect. He would literally, as soon as she said that, like, I thought, could this be him then doing it again? You know, he was straight away like, he could be doing this to us. But then we thought, because we were such good friends with him, it didn't make sense for him to do something like this. But then I noticed that, you know, a couple of days before, or even a week or so before, Julianne, or Jules Sour Patch Simmer, got a role on the Sims community social website, writing articles for Jovan on the site, and he also applied, but he didn't get through because he wasn't 18. And you know, he sounded a bit gutted on Skype. You know, she was like really happy and everything, and we felt bad for him because he didn't get in. So I thought, he has motive. You know, if he has this jealousy problem, because he does get quite jealous, and he can be quite volatile and quite argumentative and horrible when you get on the wrong side of him, or even when you don't. When he just chooses to not like you, he fucking hates you, and he says some horrible fucking shit, and I will tell you about this at the end of this video. But yeah, so we thought, okay, he has motive. And then, you know, we were like, okay, could this be him? And then I was looking on the group chat. I wasn't even looking for evidence, and you know, hardly anyone was saying anything, but we were talking about on our own chat, trying to figure out who this was, that the troller had left messages early in the morning. So at that time, it was like 8 hours ago, and then I tracked that back to be about 4 or 5 a.m. And then I just happened to go on the chat, and he'd left a message on the group chat at the hour of 4 a.m, which I thought was so weird, because I knew he got up early for school, but I didn't think he'd be awake at that time. And the day it happened, he was awake at that time, and he'd left a message on the group chat. He was awake when this happened, right? So I was like, okay, so he totally could have done this, you know. That's what, like 3 pieces of evidence now? It's 2. He has motive. No, 3. He has motive. He's done this before to official LittleMrsSimmer, so he's capable of doing this and thinking that it's perfectly fine. And he was up at exactly the same time. This, as you can, you know, this is not, we're not simply blaming him. This is based on evidence that we've put together, okay? then we thought, okay, he's fallen out with loads of people in the community. You know, he had an argument with Simproved, which we thought were weird, because she came across as a really nice person, really genuine, really down to earth, and she'd gone absolutely apeshit at him, and he didn't really explain why, and we thought, oh, okay, maybe he's done the same thing to her, but of course we hadn't asked her about this at the time, so we didn't know. But it was a bit weird that he had fallen out with so many people and, you know, starting arguments with so many people, and so many people didn't really get on with him, which I thought was a bit dodgy. And then there was the comments. So the people that were leaving comments were making names like, "It's my birthday Bish," "Bobby Bish," "Can you do a split?" Things like that. And the Bish part, that's like B-I-S-H instead of saying Bish. He would always say Bish, like on Skype, on Twitter. That was like his word. He would say it all the time, and I thought it was weird how the troller had used that word in their username, which was a bit of a coincidence. So I thought, okay, this is more reason why it could be him. The second reason relating to the comments was that the way he personally attacked Jules in the most disgusting way compared to everyone else. You know, it made sense with the whole Sims community thing that he would be harsher to her as he was most jealous of her. But then he'd put his channel on a hiatus because he obviously wasn't happy about how his channel was going. He wasn't growing fast enough, so he sort of put it on hiatus to try, you know, I don't know why, really. I don't get how that helps grow your channel, stopping it, but he'd done that, and I think he was a bit jealous of how fast Jules was growing, considered she'd been doing it for a lot less time. So that's another reason he was saying some disgusting things to her about her weight, her illnesses, you know, calling her mental, telling her to get sexual toys and all this kind of crap. It was disgusting, the things that they were saying to her, and, you know, it just made sense that he was being harsher to her because he was most jealous of her. And he'd been completely silent this entire time while this was all going on. You know, we were talking about it on Twitter, tweeting about it, but, you know, he's normally really active on Twitter, and he wasn't during this entire time, which was weird. He just disappeared while this was happening, and then all of a sudden he'd popped back and he'd said, "Oh, I replied to your tweet." Not one of the tweets, I replied to one of the comments, and he sent a screenshot of what he said, and it was so weird how similar it was. He'd used the same emoji, he'd used the same insults, he'd basically used what they said and just made it into a reply. It was so weird. And then there was, you know, that leads on to another point where he'd actually lied about why he trolled Official Girly Simmer. He told her that it was because he had a mental problem and he had jealousy and everything. But then when I sent my friend Frazzy undercover on Skype to ask him why he did it, he told him that it was because he was just trolling with his friends in year 7 in the computer room, and they were having a bit of laugh and it was just fun and games. And, you know, his friend, to the comment that I was just on about being really similar, one of his friends replied to his comment saying, "Hey Galaxy," someone called Hey is Poor, and he tried to use that to prove that it wasn't him by saying, "Oh, my friend Paul was there, he replied to my comment, blah blah blah." And I just thought, so could this not just be you and your friends in the computer room again trolling people? Do you know what I mean? He was in the exact same situation all over again. Then there were some screenshots that Hey It's Paul sent me when Galaxy had realised that I had outed him on Twitter, and Hey It's Paul was actually on the Twitter page of one of the trollers, not the Twitter page, the YouTube page of one of the trollers, and at first we thought he was signed in, but then we realised that he wasn't. But at the same time I thought it was weird because that troller had gone and they had deleted some of their channels because you know, they'd realised they had been caught, obviously. But yeah, so that was another thing. And then another reason relating to Skype, I don't even know what number I'm on now. I'm literally just spilling all of the evidence out so people don't think that this is some kind of personal vendetta. This is all based on things that have actually happened. We, you know, trying to get out of him on Skype, trying to get him to admit it, say, why did you do this? Have you done this? You know, prove this wasn't you. We've got all this evidence, you know, prove it's not you. And he just couldn't. He was just like, it's not me. It's not me. That's all he could say. It's not me. That's all he could say. We'd given him all of this evidence and he had no reason. You know, he admitted to trolling Official Girly Simmer. He admitted it. He didn't even know that she had told us, and he admitted it to me. So, you know, I didn't even have to push for him. He just gave that to me. He just said it. And we talked about, you know, why were you trolling these other people? You know, he sort of used that, I don't know these people, why would I troll them? And we were like, well, I don't really know. And then the next morning, I'd woke up to find there was a tweet on one of the other people's videos saying, I don't know you, I'm sorry, I don't know you, I didn't troll you, I don't know who you are. And we thought it was so weird, because that's exactly what he was saying on Skype the night before. And it was like, why is he randomly going on saying, I don't know you, to these people who he's trolled, if it isn't to try and prove his innocence? But he's done it in the worst possible way by using the trolling account. So that was also weird. If you're wondering, like, why I haven't posted screenshots or anything, it's purely because I'm actually just lazy. But if you would like to see them, I have got all the screenshots of everything. I'm losing my voice. So has LittleMrsSimmer. If you go and watch her video, she'll have some of the screenshots on there, but literally send me a DM on Twitter and I'm happy to send the screenshots to you if you think that I'm lying. So yeah, there was that incident, which, you know, again, made me think, you know, it's looking like it's him, it's really looking like it's him. And then, there's so much more. He you know, he wanted to prove that he was innocent, so he said, I'm going to go and I'm going to contact a hacking company. And I thought, okay, well, isn't this illegal? And he replied to me, do you think I fucking give a shit? And he was being really rude to me, you know. He was saying we were accusing him, but we were more trying to tell him that you're just a suspect, and we've got this evidence and we'd like you to prove it's not you, you know, because I don't really trust you right now. You know, I'm finding out all these things about you that I didn't know that aren't very nice. You've kept this from me, you've lied. Why should I believe anything you say? And, you know, I was still being civil to him, being nice to him, wasn't insulting him, but he was being so rude to me, it was unbelievable. But I wasn't gonna, you know, retaliate or respond to it. I was just wanted to figure out whether it was him so this could be over. And he contacted some hacker company, sent me a screenshot of his application, and it seemed like a massive lie, if I'm perfectly honest. It just didn't seem real. It just seemed like a way that he could try and get out of this. And he was like, oh, I've got a meeting with them at 6 a.m, I'm going to record it. And I asked him at about 7 o'clock, how did it go? Oh, it never happened. And I was like, okay. And then he responded by sending me some extremely offensive messages. Before I'd even had a chance to say anything back to what had happened, he just began insulting me. So, you know, I was just a bit like, I haven't even, you know, said that it's you. I'm just saying I think it's you. And, you know, I said, what did they say? He said, the knob didn't even respond. Oh well, so we will never know who the fucking troller is, in capital letters. So I messaged to you and Jules and all the victims of that arsehole, go to the police. I'm so fed up of these shit you and Jules have been giving me. So do everyone a favour and go to the police. Literally the only way you will get closure on this shit. And you might be wondering this as well. If we went to the police, they couldn't do anything. They're not allowed, just like Google aren't allowed, to reveal the information of someone else to you. They can only reveal that information to them. So they would have to go to Google, which again, Google would not give them that information. That is Google's information, and it would be up to Google to find that person. But do you honestly think every time someone contacts them that they're going to, you know, actually investigate it? Do you think they have the time and money to waste on that kind of thing? No. So it would be useless, and it would be pointless, and it would be a waste of police time. Do you know what I mean? And then Jules wanted to say something to him because she had blocked him at this point. They'd all decided, you know, it's him, I'm done, it's him. And I wanted to give him a bit more time to try and prove that it's not him. And instead of taking this and, you know, thanking me for not just, you know, because I just didn't want to believe it was him because he was my friend and I wanted to believe that it wasn't him. And so I gave him a bit more time, you know, to try and prove something, just get rid of some of this evidence, come up with an alibi or something. But instead, you know, Jules wanted to send him a message, so I sent it to him, and he said, tell him if you still have him added from me, the police will do nothing, that he needs to stop talking to you like that, and we wouldn't be giving him the shit if he hadn't fucking trolled Hardy before. Which again, you know, if he hadn't done it before, then we wouldn't think that he would be capable of this. In fact, I wouldn't even put him on as a suspect. I wouldn't even be trying to look for the person because he wouldn't even be questioned, you know what I mean, if he hadn't done this before. And then he replied, I know you can give me shit for the Hardy thing, but everything else, fuck no. You criticise me as a person. I've never done this. I never said anything about him as a person, anything about his life. if he has proof of this, me criticising him and insulting him, I'd love to see this, but there is none of it. You are just a fucking hypocrite. This was from, and I said that was from Jules, not me. And I said, but thanks for the insult. He said, also, you felt the need to throw some fucking shoes outside, and your own mother called you a bitch. Stop throwing shade to me when I'm not even you troller, okay? And he blocked me, and that was the end of that. So he basically just insulted me when I hadn't even had my chance to have my say about the hacker thing. He just put, you know, he just blocked me and straight up made himself look extremely guilty. And at this point I was just like, okay, I've given you a chance to say it's not you, but you've just insulted me, so that's it. Everyone needs to know what you've done. So yeah, that is the situation. This is an extremely long video. It's not exactly, you know, the most positive video, but I just wanted to clear up anything. Loads of people have questions and stuff. There's a ton more stuff. He's trying to justify what he's done with, you know, trivial things like saying, oh, it's not me, I'm someone, right? Basically, there's a whole situation where someone left a comment on one of Kat Simmer's videos saying, you can't listen to Fetty Wap because you're not black. And we know, because we know this person, whatever his fucking name is, because he keeps changing it, that he listens to Fetty Wap. He's obsessed with R&B music, hip-hop music, and especially Fetty Wap. He was always singing it on Skype, and again, it was another correlation that was just too big to be a coincidence. All of you telling me that all of these things are a coincidence? They're all linked to him by coincidentally. It's just, it would be ridiculous to ignore it all and just say, no, it's not him. Just ignore all of this. It doesn't mean anything. It's not him. No. But yeah, there was the Fetty Wap incident, and he's saying, why would I insult black people if I'm black myself? Well, there was also a comment on my channel where I told the troll, you know, come out from under the bridge, tell me who you are, blah blah blah, and they said, I can't, I'm black. Saint is black. Well, there you go. Contradiction right there. So that does not prove that it was not you. So I'm sorry, Saint, if you're watching this. You're going to have to try harder than that to convince me, and convince me that all of this evidence does not point to you. You've done this twice before, and I'm sure you've done it to many other people. You've done nothing but lie and deceive everyone, and you repulse me. So, you know, please get off my channel and never come on it again. There's this whole situation with LittleMrsSimmer. I was getting tons of, you know, really nice messages from you guys on Twitter after this had happened, because I just thought, he can't get away with this. I'm not letting him do this to someone again. He's done this before. He's done it to me, when I thought he was his friend. I'm not letting him do this to anyone else. The community needs to know about this. And so I tweeted it, and he blocked me at this point, you know. And if he didn't, you know, want this to happen, then he shouldn't have just shut me out and insulted me. So but yeah, and then I got a message from LittleMrsSimmer telling me that he'd actually trolled him and sent him horrible messages, which I will read. Again, if you want screenshots, I'll happily send them. But we'd had an incident with Howdy, and he'd actually decided to troll Howdy after this, which none of us had done, but he decided to. He said, I actually had some nasty comments sent by him saying, I'm gay, drop dead, let your illness kill you over, but then they got deleted after about 10 minutes of him posting them, but I thought someone had hacked him. So he tried to troll Howdy and then tried deleting them by covering it up, but without realising that comments actually get sent by email from Gmail. When you comment on someone's account, they will get an email from Gmail telling them that they've got a comment, so he's obviously seen them, and he trolled Howdy as well. So it's not even just official LittleMrsSimmer, he trolled Howdy as well. And he trolled all of us. So, you know, if you still think he's innocent, that's up to you. But personally, I don't think he's a person who's to be trusted. He's lied too much. He said too many horrible things, and he's done too many bad things in the community for me to ever even want to have any kind of conversation with him ever again. I don't even want to acknowledge his existence. He disgusts me, he repulses me, and I never want anything to do with him again. Yeah, so this is basically just a video explaining everything that happened. Because there was a lot of Twitter commotion and everything. Make up your own mind, do what you will, but I certainly won't be putting up with this kind of behaviour, and I'll be telling people exactly what happened. I'm not lying, no one else is lying, you know, this is all purely evidence based. And yeah, so that is the end of this video. I hope this was informative, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.